So this is a very short video on replacing the power switch, which is here, on a Dyson DC33. A few years old now, but it's still going. Along with all the other problems that I've been having with it recently, like lack of suction and sort of smelliness, the power switch has started to play up a little bit. So today I'm going to be replacing the power switch, which is hidden just underneath here. Right. So, first things first, need to make sure the power is disconnected, which it isn't at the moment. So I'll be right back. Okay, power's disconnected now. As you can see, I've made the basic engineering mistake of getting cables wrapped around, so let's get rid of that out of the way. And we need to make sure that the hose assembly is off the vacuum cleaner as well. So let's just take that off. And also because it'll be a little bit easier to see what I'm doing on the video, I'll just get rid of these tools out of the way and get the dust bucket off as well. Try and ignore what's in there, please. I haven't emptied it for a while. And what you can see, hopefully, are 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm getting a little bit closer. The video will focus, which it doesn't like it will, but I'll try again. Screws. They are Torx T15 screws, so you're going to need a Torx T15 screwdriver. I've got one of these things that you get from the garage for a couple of quid, which work. You're also going to need a replacement switch. They're a couple of pounds from Amazon. I'll stick a link in the video to this. In actual fact, to break down the fourth wall a little bit here, I've already replaced the switch inside here. So this one's actually the broken one. Even though it's got a fairly positive click, the return action isn't great, so I think the spring's probably gone inside there. So anyway, I'll show you what I did. Right. Apologies for the crapness of this video. I'm going to take this one, this one, this one, and this one out. So bear with me, I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so I've taken the 4 screws out. What I should have just said before was I've also taken the hose assembly completely out. There's a small retaining clip that you push in here, which is normally seated just in here, and it lifts, pulls up straight out. And I just shoved a bit of a plastic bag into the end there, so that if any of the screws from up here did drop down here, they're not going to drop into the tube. Even if they do, it's not a problem because you can see right in there. It's a see-through tube, which you can just about see. But I've found that if you get a screw caught behind the mechanism of the hose release assembly, it's an absolute pain in the bum to get them back out. Anyway, cracking on. So, to replace the power button, simply now, once you've released all your screws, it's just a case of pulling this forwards. It just comes off. You can see there's absolutely nothing other than those 4 screws holding this on. Just got a bit of a sprung release button there. And then here, if you can see that, if we can get it to focus, is your switch. Let's see if we can get it around. There we go. Again, it's not held on by much, it's just sat in a plastic bracket. It's got 2 slide-on connectors here. So all you do is pull down. I'm going to have to put the video down, I think, just whilst I do that. So I'm pulling So there we go. I just pulled the connectors straight off. Nice and simple. And then the button that you're going to replace, this just pulls straight out. Don't be gentle. As I said at the beginning of the video, this is the new one actually. So I'm going to pop that back in. It's a bit of a squeeze to get in, but it does go in. And then reconnect the connections. I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter actually which way around they go, but you don't want your wires getting crossed, so to speak. And that is that. Much more positive click there than this one. There's no click on the release for that one, so that one's rubbish. Okay, so put this back together. It's just a case of seating this back on. It doesn't click or anything in place, it just holds in place with friction. Spin it around and then put the screws back in those holes. I'll be back in a moment. Okay, that's the boring bit over. The screws are back in place. I found that you actually have to hold the front of the switch panel when you're screwing them in, or else the switch panel just falls off when you put the screws in. Haven't done them too tight because this is Dyson plastic and the thing's getting a bit old now, so if you'd screw too tight then it'll probably just break the plastic. All I'm going to do is take this bag out now, bag of rubbish. I'm going to struggle doing that with one hand, I think, so I'm just going to reconnect the hose to the bottom. That clip goes facing that way, sets itself in there, and then we'll turn it on and see what's what. Back in a minute. Okay, right, everything's back together now. Ignore all the dust. Let's see what happens. I've got this connected to a RCD just in case, but it's just a simple switch. Perfect. As I mentioned before, just as an aside, this was starting to smell and lose suction fairly badly, and when I had a look at the filters, which I do clean regularly, I don't know, something just didn't seem quite right about them. There's the filter here and also there's a filter underneath. I managed to find a place on the internet which I could source those for fairly cheap. I've just replaced them both and it's like I've got a new vacuum cleaner. Anyway, that's replacing the power switch on a DC33. I think Dyson will charge you an arm and a leg to do that, but you can do it yourself for the cost of a Torx T15 screwdriver and a couple of quid for a new switch. Thanks for watching, bye bye.